Hello YouTube, this is Charlie426, and today we have the review of the P-Bandai exclusive, or P-Bandai exclusive, Reborn 100 Gundam Mark III Unit 8. Now basically, I'm just gonna say this right off the bat, this kit in a nutshell is basically the same exact Gundam Mark III as we got as retail in red colors. So, for those who already have the Reborn 100 Gundam Mark III, you pretty much know what to expect from this kit. For the record, I do not own the original Reborn 100 version, the retail version, so this is going to be a full review, and there won't be any comparisons because I don't have the retail version at the first place. Alright, so first of all, while you're watching the video, the time this is uploaded, you might not be able to, or you won't see the intro part where I usually upload like 23 pictures and stuff, because my memory card on my DSLR is dead for some reason. I had that memory card since day one, ever since I got my DSLR, which was like a long time ago. If I remember, that was like 8 or 9 years ago, I think. It was because it was actually one of the first early DSLR cameras that ever to come out, I believe. So yeah, so because of that, I have to go out and get a new memory card, and by the time, at the same time, I also need to go get the Gem Sniper 2 Ver anime figure as well. Anyway, so let's get on to the review. Now, first of all, this kit is very, very tall. I wasn't expecting it to be this tall, which is why on the even on the camera as well, you can't see the full thing. So I will show you guys like a simple, slight height comparison, like with a standard master grade later. But first of all, as usual, let's go on with the components. So first of all, what you get, of course, is the Gundam Mark III Unit 8 itself. I believe regarding some info, the Unit 8 is supposed to be meant for after the Gundam Mark III was like made. They were supposed to make another Gundam Mark III meant for Quattro Bajina, who was the pilot of the Hakushiki in Gundam Zeta Gundam. But since the Gundam Mark III never actually happened, or I mean technically there were some made, but most of them got destroyed. Alright, so for components, you get obviously the Gundam Mark III Unit 8, and here what you're supposed to get is a sticker sheet. Now, it may look kind of big, but most of these stickers aren't that bad, and some of them can be colored if you want to do so. So I will point those part out later. And then we get, being a P-Bandai kit, we get a water slide decal. Nothing too special here going on. So that's that. And then we get a standard, well, not standard, but a shield. Yeah, nothing. This is actually a very efficient looking shield, although the odd part would be that usually if a beam saber is stored on the shield, it's usually on the other side, but this one's actually outside, which I do have something to talk about if I have time. So yeah, so you have two beam sabers over there, and those yellow parts are actually stickers. Other than that, everything is color separated, and the gray plastic here has that nice flat color feeling to it. And then we get a beam rifle, a very, very long beam rifle. I don't think this is the exact beam rifle as, like, let's say the Zeta Gundam, but it's more like a mixture between like the Hakushiki beam rifle and the Gundam Mark II beam rifle, because we have two ammo clips. Number one is this back one, which I can't somehow take it off, and the other one is right over here, which is stuck on there as well. So I guess this means this thing uses two ammo packs, which is also stored in the shield. And then we get two beam saber effects, just pink ones, because oddly enough, well, for the Unit A, I guess I don't really mind, but I've also checked the color for the original retail, and it's also the same color. Oddly enough, back in when SD Gundam Capsule Fighter Online was still a thing, the Gundam Mark III actually had blue beam sabers. So I don't know which one's correct, but oh well, that's how it is. And then let's see, let's talk about some leftover, well, not exactly leftover pieces yet, but here are the other hands. Now currently I'm using two fists. And then on one hand, just to save time, I'm using the multi-purpose hand on the beam rifle, and for the right hand, and we get another one for the left hand, and then we get some open hands for left and right. So yeah, I guess that's kind of I didn't expect to see these hands actually. And finally, some leftover parts. Now, for part-wise, there's not many leftover parts, which I would assume, since this is pretty much the same kit as the retail, the only leftover parts you get, I assume, for the retail as well would be these thruster parts, because you only use 3 each, but since you get 4 of these, you get 1 leftover each. And then for some polycaps, this one, where'd it go? Oh, there we go. This one I accidentally cut off, and then here is the leftover parts. Usually we get some leftovers of number 1, and I believe that's 3, I believe, yeah. Well, number 1s and 3 polycaps. Alright, now let's get on to the review. So once again, the kit is definitely tall in height, but I think it's mostly because of the legs, because as you can see, the legs are very long. So I really hope I can somehow manage to film this properly. So here's like a slight height comparison. Here's the Master Grade Gym 2 from Zeta Gundam, which is technically still pretty much the same height as the Gym 2.0, and you can see the height difference. Keep in mind, this is a Master Grade in Reborn 100. There's a big height difference. Granted, there's something even bigger, which would be the Hama Hama, I believe, but still, that's pretty big. That's a pretty big height difference, if you ask me. Alright, so let's go on to the articulation, and I will mention to point out what part is supposed to be a sticker. Yeah. So number 1, the main reason I got this for is pretty much it's red. So number 2 is that I did personally like the Gundam Mark III. Problem is, when the time they actually announced the Reborns 100 series, and then all of the first 3 Reborns 100, like the Ifrit Custom, DJ, GPO4, and this Mark III, I was kind of shocked because I really wanted to have a Master Grade of those. That was the time where I only cared for the Master Grades. So yeah, it took me a while to get used to it, but still, yeah. So I believe the original retail version, the eyes are supposed to be yellow, and then in the SD Gundam Capsule Fire Online, the kit was overall gray, but I believe the retail version has more of a, how should I say, like a sky blue, or kind of a bluish color. So I'm not sure which one's correct, but either way, let's look at the head first. Now the head, I don't know, I think the sticker kind of got messed up while I was attaching the head, so the eye size can look a little bit different, but I do love those blue eyes. And then sticker wise, let's see, those black sections on the side of the heads, now those are supposed to be black stickers, because the inside, the base structure of the head is actually a big clear piece, so you're supposed to use stickers. I just decided to color them using a black on the marker, and it turned out okay. And then the eyes are obviously a sticker, and then that top blue section is a blue sticker, but I think it might look okay if you just used a blue Gundam marker, metallic blue, or just your typical normal blue. So we got those stickers back and forward, so yeah. And I do love the head design. I believe like this one time when I saw the art for Gundam Mark III, I thought it had like 4 eyes, which I thought was kind of interesting, but turns out it wasn't. So head wise, it can go down that much, up not so much, because I'm actually trying to make it go up, but it's not really moving. And then 360, it's technically possible, but you just need to work your way around. It's just not like you can spin it on a like on a single angle. You have to like move it around. Okay, now let's look at the body. The body, once again, being a Reborns 100 kit, you cannot open the cockpit. And those blue stickers, those are blue stickers, but behind them are actually clear pieces. So if you can color them, I guess it will also work. So yeah. So for the eyes, the head camera, and the side vents of the head, those are supposed to be also clear pieces on the back of it. So yeah. So the main body, let's get the body. So body wise, the way how it's connected to the waist is just a single peg. So if you can work your way around, it's technically you're able to spin 360. You can see I already spinned it about 180 and it did not get hindered by anything. So yeah, just be like at least aware of what part can, you know, get stuck where. So before going to the backpack, let's look at the shoulder parts. Now the arm parts, they have your back and forward. Of course, the way how they're connected is not through a ball joint. This is actually just a peg connection, so keep that in mind. The arms have, oh boy. So arm wise, usually the entire arm would twist 360, but this time it's only on the bottom section that actually is able to twist. And I would like to mention this Reborns 100 is not loosened at any point. Like sometimes some Reborns 100 are actually loose on the joints. This one is actually pretty stiff. So that's another plus. So yeah, you can twist 360 on the lower arm, and then you have a nice double jointed bend. Although it doesn't really bend all the way to the end, but still that's a good amount of bend. And then we have this hole for the shield connector. And then your hands are your typical ball jointed hands, so no need to worry about that. And then these parts also move around, these flaps, and then the shoulder arm also goes a little bit up, which also helps the arm to go about a little bit more. If you can force it, you can go a little bit more, but mostly 90 degrees to the side is the best you can go. And then, now since it's on a peg, a 360 twist on the arm would be possible, but the backpack is actually going to get in the way. Actually, the backpack is going to be one of the main obstacles as well. Okay, so we've seen that. Now let's look at the backpack itself. Now the backpack, the way how this is connected is pretty interesting. First of all, we have these cannons on the back. Now those are, I believe these are supposed to be rail guns. And the interesting part about the Gundam Mark III is that it's mentioned, I remember reading this from somewhere, I can't remember where, but it's actually, I believe it mentioned that the Gundam Mark III is actually one of the few Gundams that can single shot and destroy a how should I say it? A spacecraft, like, you know, one of those big spacecraft that we see in the Gundam universe. So yeah, let's say there's a Musai, and then you can actually fire its rail, single shot, and then destroy the Musai. So I thought that was kind of interesting, but I cannot confirm if that's true or not, because that's something I read a long time ago. So these two cannons are actually connected not on pegs, they are actually on ball joints, and as you can see, they don't go 90 degrees to the front. It's like on an angle, so I'm not sure how the pilot is supposed to aim stuff. And then we got these three thrusters, and then each side of this pack is actually on a ball joint as well. So you can see you can move a little bit to the side, you can move up and down a little bit, but of course it's going to collide with the shoulder. And then we can move these flaps individually as well. Same goes for the bottom flaps as well. And then those yellow sections are stickers, so you get 4 for each, since you use 2 for each one. And that's pretty much it for the backpack. And despite the backpack, it doesn't really feel that back heavy. Of course, this might still have some balance issues because mostly how the way how the legs work or the ankles work. So yeah, we'll get into that later. Alright, so let's see. Well, let's look at the waist section. The waist section now, we have this front skirt, side skirt, and back skirt. The back skirt actually flaps around, and then we can see 3 more thrusters going on. So the flap goes on. Okay, let me just do this. Okay, and side skirt, they also move a little bit, a good amount. And then the front skirt, it does move actually pretty good. And these are actually individual pieces, and they are not on ball joints. They are on pegs, so be careful about that. So if you think it's like on ball joints and you kind of jibble it around, you might accidentally break it. And then we have the leg connection. Once again, these are all through pegs, no ball joints. We have a side swivel, but because of the way how this is designed, I don't think this really moves that much. So kind of limited, but still we can go 90 degrees up front. Backwards, not so much, even though we have the moving back skirt, less than 90 degrees. And then as you can see, we have this hinge or swivel system, so you can move the leg back and forth, and they are also individual. So just because I move this side doesn't mean it moves the other side. So that's another big consideration. Although I'm not sure which position would be the best, or you know, the ideal position or location to be positioning the, you know, middle or front. I'm not really too sure about that part. Oh yeah, also regarding another sticker, these vents on the shoulder, those are supposed to be stickers, but the way how the stickers work is that they have the red stickers and they have the red, and in the middle of them are the black sections. So I thought it was kind of unnecessary to put those there. So all I did was get a panel lining Gundam marker and then color the inside of those parts. So yeah. So as you can see, up to this point, most stickers can be pretty much colored if you can do so. And then the feet. Now the only part I actually don't like regarding this kit is mostly the feet, because they're not on your typical ball jointed feet. They have these connections like here and there. So they have a nice pivot. I believe this is what they call a pivot. But yeah, but once again, very stiff. And then you can go back and forth, but you cannot twist the feet itself. So you cannot position the feet left or right, so it's always going to be on a 90 degree angle. And also, I guess these are, instead of having ankle guards, they have the ankle guards on the side part, so that's another interesting aspect if you ask me. So yeah, so you can see I'm having a little bit of trouble like trying to pose with this thing, because of those ankles are pretty limited when it comes to moving. It's kind of tricky. Alright, so now let's get the equipment. First of all, the beam rifle, nothing too special. Once again, this is just basically two pieces snapped together, put the end tip, and then attach the ammo clips. The handle does not move at all, but it has the hole and peg system, which is why you don't actually see the weapon being a little bit wobbly. But being a ball jointed hand, all you need to do is connect it. And of course that scope is a blue sticker, and there's no clear piece inside there. I would like to mention that. No issue holding the beam rifle. Now let's look at the beam saber. Now the beam sabers, I believe this is like a common thing regarding for Reborn's 100s, is that unlike master grade beam sabers, the peg is actually on the beam saber, so which is kind of tricky. Which I guess this would limit using the beam saber on master grade kits, I believe. So, but because of that, you can still have a more, how should I say, you can have a more firm connection. You can see I connected the peg to the hole on the hand. So Reborn's 100 hands, they kind of work the opposite of master grade hands, where the peg is actually on. I don't know. I mean, the hole is on the hand. I believe sometimes it's the other way around, but still, unlike the beam saber, for example, the peg is actually on the beam saber, so the hole is on the hand. So once again, as long as you get it on the hand, there's no problem holding it. Of course, some might have this might be tricky to pose because the beam saber is actually being held in an angle. So once again, keep that in mind. And I would like to take this beam saber off because there's something I really wanted to check. So let's say if you have the beam saber on, and then let's say we attach it, because in SDGO, the way how the Gundam Mark III uses close combat is actually turning on the beam sabers while it's on the shield, and I'm trying to connect it, and it's not really getting a firm connection because of the beam saber effect part. So it's not able to do that, sadly. And then here we have the extra ammo packs. Interestingly enough, up and down they each put on one each, but it definitely looks a little bit awkward to some people. It might look a little bit awkward to some people, but you are able to swap them out. So basically, if you want to have two of these on the top and then two of these on the bottom, you can do that as well. The Mark II-ish beam rifle actually clips onto the peg, while the Hyakushiki-ish ones actually connects it onto. There's a hole there, and then on the ammo clip, it actually has a small connecting point right over there, so it actually goes inside the hole, while the Mark II just clips onto it. So here we have the shield connector. The main connector on the shield is actually on the ball joint, so you can turn it around, you can twist it around, so it's pretty free. And here we have the main joint. You need to put it in at that hole I just mentioned while I was showing the arm. Where is it? Yeah, doing this in front of camera is always tricky. But once you get it in, it's actually a very firm connection, so you don't need to worry about falling off. But once again, this does kind of feel awkward because of the length between the arm and the shield. That's actually a pretty big gap if you ask me. But once again, as long as you have it and you have it on the right position, it won't look pretty awkward. And that's pretty much it for the review. Now, once again, if you don't have the Gundam Mark III and you do happen to like red mobile suits, definitely get this version because it's red. But for those who already have the Gundam Mark III, I don't think it's really necessary for you guys to get it because you're not really missing anything out. There's nothing new other than the color. So yeah, these are one of those simple Premium Bandai kits, which is basically a recolor. Anyway, thank you for watching the review. This was the review of the Gundam Mark III Unit 8. If you guys got any questions or requests, leave a comment below. I still have more stuff to buy and build and make reviews out, so please stay tuned. Until then, see you guys next time!